Good morning. It's June 27th, 2026, Saturday. Today we have the teacher's class for Wudang Qigong. I worked on several things yesterday for set 6. Yin and yang both appear. Yin, yang, liang, yi. And I talked a bit about how the previous exercises, the 5 sets that we'd already worked on, have given us the basis and foundation for what we're doing in this set. The ideas of connecting upper and lower, of being well placed and well centered, are foundation for all of the exercises that we're doing. But I emphasize particularly in working with this set the idea of being grounded and being well placed. That is something I'm going to cover a little bit more this morning, with the idea that the student at the beginning does not understand the principles of rooting, of being well placed. If a person has studied some other art, or they have studied dance or played sports, they're going to instinctively know, from having learned it, they're going to instinctively know how to manage their balance so that this isn't happening, right? But in practice, we want to actively pay attention to how we're using the posture. I mentioned this yesterday in the context, this is push, yin, yang, liang, yi. I mentioned this yesterday, that at the beginning, okay, so push to both sides. At the beginning student is thinking about, all right, I'm going to bring my arms up and push my hands down, and then I'm going to shift, and I'm going to turn on my heel, and I'm going to push this way, and I'll come back, and I come center, right? Very basic. In shifting the weight, we worked on that in set 4. Right? We developed that skill. We're using it again, and we'll use it repeatedly in the sets. We'll use it again here in set 2, pushing the mountain. We developed the skill, this push, pull in, come back to center. We developed that. We learned that. We're using it a little bit different way in this set, but the foundation is the same. Push is not here. That's not, I don't know what that is, but that's not what we're doing. Okay? And that was also something that I talked about, and I'm going to repeat many, many times. In practice, we have particular movements that we should do in a particular fashion. Okay, when I bring my arms up, it's not here. No. It's here. Why? Body alignment, physical body alignment, and alignment with the channels and meridians on both sides of the body. My elbows don't go out. I want my arms to sink down. I want my elbow to sink. I don't want to stick it out. I want my arm to be able to relax in the shoulder joint and the shoulders to be down and open. If I do this, my arm's not down and relaxed. It's not. All of this has to work. I don't want it to. I want to pay attention to this. in set 3, I want to work on this. Same with set 4, right? Those differences matter for each of the sets. They matter for how we do the sets. If we're not paying attention to what we should be doing, and we're just doing, whatever, it's not this exercise. It's whatever. Paying attention to how an exercise should be done, paying attention to the principles that go with that exercise. So Wudang Qigong is one of hundreds. I maybe go thousands, but I'm pretty comfortable with the idea of hundreds of systems of Qigong that have beneficial effects, that have particular practices, that have particular movements that need to be done in a certain way. There's no, you want to work on that type of Qigong? Go ahead. That's over there. This is over here. That distinction makes a difference for everything that I teach. It really does. If we're trying to, I use the word mush, if we're trying to mush together a bunch of different things. I've got some Italian noodles over here, and I've got some very nice Thai noodles over here, and I've got some Chinese noodles over here, and I've got some, I've got a plate of something else over here, and I'm going to put them all in a bowl. It's probably not going to taste very good. It's not. The Italian noodles probably taste really good by themselves. They would. And the Thai noodles, yeah. Oh, and the Japanese soba noodles. I like soba noodles. That'd be good too. Ramen noodles. Yeah, I'm all right with ramen noodles. And it's not in the same bowl. Not in the same bowl. Not even at the same meal. That distinction is exactly what I'm getting at. As we practice, as we teach, in teaching, as this for the teachers here, that analogy of the noodles and the different types of noodles and the things that are good by themselves, this is great. There are all kinds of Italian noodles that are really, really good. They don't go well with the Thai noodles, though. There are several varieties of Thai noodles that are extremely good. But I wouldn't mix them with the Italian noodles at the same time. Wudang Qigong, over here. This is the Italian noodles. Particular style, particular plate, particular way of being served. Thai noodles over here. This is maybe some of the Qigong sets that I learned from Huang Wei Lun. At the beginning of our classes, we would, Tai Chi classes, we would always practice a series of warm-ups. They were a Qigong set. And so, but it's different than this. Giving the student a way to distinguish what they're doing that they can connect with is essential for the student to develop their understanding of what they're doing. Why shouldn't I? Well, you want to mix the noodles. Yeah, no. And I caution people on that frequently because it's important to distinguish. I teach also Tai Chi, Xingyi, Bagua, Sword, a little bit of Shaolin. I don't teach them all at the same time to any one individual because we have to distinguish them. Tai Chi is not Bagua, Bagua is not Xingyi, Xingyi is not Tai Chi, right? They have different requirements for their movements. The same as Wudang Qigong, different requirements for the movements, different focus, different emphasis on what it is we should be doing. and a different practice method, a different method of connecting through the body. We do that. We still connect through the body, but what we're paying attention to isn't always the same. In this set, as we start out, I talked about this just a minute ago. Breathe in, breathe out. This is the same as what we're going to be doing through most of the sets, this beginning. In set 2, push out. Right? We're stationary, we go up and down and push out and pull in and return to the center. In this set, we breathe in, breathe out, sink, settle, shift right, turn on the left toes. Both hands come up through the middle tantien and push out. Middle tantien and the laogong are connected. Pull in, both sides of the chest, press down, sink. Breathe in, breathe out. Shift left, turn right. Push out, pull in, center. I'm going to turn around. We're going to do this at 6 times. As we're practicing, paying attention to the breath, coordinating the breath with the movement. This is beginner level. Breathe in, breathe out. I just gave a connection that I would not expect a beginner to understand. That was connect the laogong in both hands through the middle tantien as you push out. No. The beginner doesn't understand that because the beginner hasn't been told what that is. What's the laogong? Center of the palm. Middle tantien right here. Center of the chest. Push out. That connection sets up an extension that we absolutely want to pay attention to, and that is an extension through the heel. Right there. My leg, this back leg, push. Extend through the leg, all the way through the body. Push. That sense of actively extending through the whole body. That the inception, the point at which that push starts is the back heel. It's not the hands. It's not this. Okay? No. No. Yes. That difference is something that we can feel, and it's something that matters tremendously for the exercise that we're doing. The whole body being connected, using the whole body, connecting the physical breath with the whole movement, not just part of it, not just it's not just this, right? Those principles are foundation. Those are things that beginner students should be taught and begin to understand. Maybe it's not today that they can do it. It takes time to develop the skill. Again, depends on the person, depends on what else they've studied. Some people, once they understand the concept, it's fine. They go with it. If you've studied extensively, there are things that you've already learned that you can apply. Makes things go quicker. That combination of level of instruction, what do I need? This is what needs to be there. Does this student have it? Is it present over here? Is it present over what is the level of performance? What I expect from, I go back to my time as a judge in competition. What I expect from a beginner is not what I expect from an advanced student. Mm-mm. You could get a high score from me as a beginner, and you wouldn't get much of a score from me at all as an advanced student. Okay? Because you're a beginner, right? That makes a difference in the level of instruction. That makes a difference in the level of execution, of being able to do the movement. As we develop the connections, we need to pay more attention. Student develops the connections between the movement and the breath. The movement is now well coordinated. General, it's pretty well. It's pretty well coordinated, and the student looks comfortable. It's an evaluation. The student looks comfortable when they're doing the movement. They got it. They know what they're doing. Now it's time to start talking about some of the internal workmanship and paying much more attention to the inner circulation and how we develop the small movements that we want to develop so that our movements become more refined, more relaxed, more supple, and that the energy, the breath, and the all of the physical systems have a much better function. It's promoting their natural function, right? Breathe in, pull up through the crown of the head, pull up through the hui-yin, the center of the torso. Open the shoulders. Keep the chest well centered. The back is up, the chest is down. We're not slouched. The knees are bent slightly. You can't see it. It's not bent down, it's slightly. Not locked. My toes are very well placed on the floor. And my weight is centered through my feet. Pull up. And pull up some more. And then pull up some more. And then pull up some more. What did I just do? Understanding what that is, that idea of pulling up, of collecting everything inside and pulling up and pulling in as we breathe, is part of what we want to develop. Breathe out. I'm still pulled up, but my legs sink down. And it's much easier because I'm only carrying the weight of my legs through my legs. The weight of my torso is being carried mostly by my torso, right? As we move, we want that effect. We want that ease of movement, that sense of being very relaxed. At the same time, it needs to be strong, well-placed, and well-coordinated. 6 sets, left side, right side. Start out going over here. Feet about shoulder width apart. Stand straight. Pull up through the crown of the head. And breathe in. And breathe out. And breathe in. And breathe out. Breathe in. And breathe out. And breathe in. And breathe out. Pay attention to the extension on the back leg. Don't turn too much. We're on the 45, not on the 90. Turn too much, you can't push. Breathe in. And breathe out. And breathe in. Breathe out. Pay attention to circulating the breath. Pay attention to the connection between the Lao Gong, the middle Tantien, and the Yong Chuan in the ball of the foot. Relax through the lower back. Open the 3 gates. Pay attention to the upper Tantien, the middle Tantien, the lower Tantien. Connect the small heavenly circle. Connect the breath. One more time. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, both hands up. Breathe out, hands down along both sides. Pull up through the crown of the head. Raise the heels and lower. Stay there. Breathe in. Breathe out. And breathe in. And breathe out. Okay. The couple of things I'm going to point out. First, my effort this morning in these sets was to connect through the entire body and to use the breath and connect the chi, the inner breath, with the outer breath and move through the posture. As I was paying attention to that, I focused on my breath. Breathe in, breathe out, focused on the external breath. And I paid attention, I called this out during the set, paid a lot of attention to the Lao Gong in the center of my palm as I push out, and the Yong Chuan just behind the toes in the ball of the foot. As I push, both of those are connected. So I push down, I push out. That opposition and split occurs through the whole body. That connection adds strength. It does. And it adds a quality to the movement that isn't present if the movement is done halfway. I'm going to turn to this side. Breathe in and breathe out. Shift. I deliberately made it static so it would be easier to see what I'm doing. Breathe in and breathe out. Looked different, didn't it? Felt different too. That connection, the movement through the whole body, with the breath, with the intent. What am I doing in this movement? I have some intent behind. What am I doing? I'm going to push. This is Tang, ward off. Push. Not tip up. That's not what I'm doing. Right? I'm paying attention to what I'm doing. And there's a quality to the movement that is developed from that connection with the breath and the body and the movement and through practice. As we develop the physical body, it becomes that much easier to connect the internal workmanship. As we connect both, the way that the exercise feels, the way that we feel after we practice begins to change. As I am learning, I'm just, okay, this and this, okay, yeah. I'm getting kind of tired. I'm tired of this push that this, and I don't want to do this anymore. Right? Push. Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. Now, how to improve it? Well, when you shift, take it a little bit easier. And when the hands come out slower. It feels different, doesn't it? Of course it does. That small change can give the student an entirely different perspective on the exercise, on what they're doing. It's not the litany that's going to help. You need to pay attention to your balance. You need to pay attention to the inner centers. You need to pay attention to your breath. You need to pay attention. It's not going to help. It's not. Pay attention to your weight. Extend through the whole body. Yes, that was good. That gives the student something to work on, something to keep. That was good. It wasn't perfect, but I'm going to go back to my analogy of tournaments. At the beginner level, that's not bad. It's not bad. It's not acceptable for an advanced student. But for a beginner, it's perfect. It's fine. The beginner student needs to know that there's more. And they also need to know that when they do something that's correct, they're going to feel it. They're going to feel it. Teaching a person how to assess their own practice is something that for me is essential. It's not, I'm not going to be in the room all the time. And I don't want to nitpick. I can. I do sometimes. I don't want to. It doesn't help. The principles that go behind what we should be paying attention to, that's what guides the movement. And that's what will help make a change in whatever movement it is. I'm going to use myself right now for that. I'm standing here with my hands pretty much stuck in front of me. I am. Because otherwise, I'd be doing this. Because I do talk with my hands. And I like to make that point, and I make sure that when I'm speaking, that there's something, if this is important, I'm going to tell you, this is what is important. It's really distracting. It's very distracting. It is. You just watch me do that. It was very distracting, wasn't it? That's why my hands are stuck here. We do similar kinds of things in practice and judging, and I will look at somebody in competition and what was that? I don't know. There are all sorts of things that people do that it makes it more difficult to determine what's behind that movement. Push. Yin and yang both appear. Yin, yang. Yin is left, yang is right. Pretty sure. we doing? How did I do that movement? Shift and push, and shift and center, and shift and go. That rhythm is also something that the student should learn. As we pay attention, because it comes from the breath, and as we pay attention to that combination, we develop the skills. That paying attention to the movement. Okay, this is the movement we should pay attention to, right? As I'm moving, my hands are in a particular place doing something in particular. I'm not waving them around. I'm not doing something else. Being able to quiet the body, to consider which movements I'm going to do now, how I'm going to do them, what the intent behind is. My intent behind keeping my hands here is so that I'm not creating a distraction. What the intent behind is, and what the principles are that we can apply to that movement, gives the student a way to assess their own movement. They don't have to depend on a laundry list. They don't have to depend on being in class. They don't have to depend on being in front of a mirror to check. They can feel it. That is a level of skill that I prefer all of my students attain. Even at the beginner level, there's a lot of things that you can do. So as we work on different aspects of the arts, as we work on different arts, being able to look at yourself, understand what you're doing, put that movement in context. This is Tai Chi, this is Xing Yi, this is Bagua, this is whatever the art is. This is Qigong. Put it in context. Put it in a particular context. And then be able to assess whether or not this movement or that movement is correct according to the principles of the form, is something that every student should be able to do. You have to understand at that level to continue to practice. As we continue that practice, there are many philosophical questions. There are all sorts of underlying principles, things to pay attention to. I'm covering a lot of those in philosophy class, and I'll be here with philosophy class tomorrow. Thank you for being here today. I appreciate it. Bye.